Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to Let Love Speak. My name is Jacqueline Snyder, and this is my weekly blog video series about getting to know your inner voice and learning more about yourself. Today I wanted to talk to you about Sherry. She sent me in a letter that I found really remarkable and very poignant, and something that her story I wanted to share with all of you. And it's really about learning to live your life fully. And she learned a wonderful lesson when she was walking through the park one day. Sherry was walking through the park and she heard a noise like a collision of metal on metal, and she went racing over to see what had happened. And she ended up seeing two cyclists that had obviously run into each other fairly quickly on the bike path. And one went flying over his handlebars and was lying, ahead of where his bike was. And the other man went flying into some brush and ended up getting impaled through his gut somewhere and was bleeding profusely. There were a couple other people that came, and one person had a cell phone and they called, and so they were all, there were three of them there trying to help, these men on this quite remote bike path. Sherry sat with the man who was bleeding and was holding his hand, and the ambulance took over 30 minutes to get there because they were in a very remote area of the park and it took them a long time to find them. And the man who'd gone somersaulting over his handlebars had come back to consciousness and was able to say his name, and I think the other people were helping him. And Sherry was holding the man's hand that was bleeding and was trying to comfort him as much as she could. And she realized at one point that he was dying, that he was bleeding too much, and there wasn't anything that she could do to stop it. And she just wanted to stay with him and comfort him. So that's what she did. She stayed with him, she held his hand, she comforted him, and she started singing to him. And the only words that he spoke the whole time were, "I love you." And he did end up dying before the ambulance arrived. The ambulance technicians took her into the hospital. She was in extreme shock and really for a long time afterwards wondered, why he died so senselessly, and it really disturbed her and upset her. I think these situations often cause us to question any God or any greater power, higher power that we believe in, and make you feel sometimes that it's pretty senseless what happens in the world and why it happens. And that's certainly how Sherry felt. And she went to visit the man's family and wanted them to know that he hadn't been alone when he died, and went on with her life the best she could, but felt very, upset and unsure about what the whole incident meant. One day she went skating. She was out, by City Hall. She went skating. Well, she didn't go skating actually. She went to watch the skaters, and she was watching them, and they were so joyful, and they were playing, and they were laughing, and suddenly she realized why she'd been there on that bike path in those woods that day. She said she felt that she'd been there to learn that she hadn't been living her life fully. And as she watched the skaters, she realized that they were skating around joyfully, having fun, playing, falling, getting up, and that she had never done that before in her life, that she'd never felt comfortable letting herself go and just being playful and joyful. And she realized that experiencing the man's death on the bike path taught her that she hadn't been living fully. And she went and she rented some skates and she went out. She got on the ice and she fell again, and she ended up playing with the family there on the ice and had a really wonderful time, and realized that that was what that was why she was there. She was there to experience why death is so significant in our lives, and that it should teach us to live fully while we're alive, because you never know when your life might be over, and you certainly don't want to have any regrets. Maybe the man was saying that he loved life when he said, "I love you." And I think that that's something that we should all strive to do every day, is to love our lives and live them the most joyfully and the best that we possibly can. And so I wish you all a wonderful week, and I hope you enjoy my blog today. And until next week, take care of yourselves, enjoy your life fully. Peace and love to you all. Until next week.